If someone had told me that my life would change because of a burnt cornbread and a cell phone camera, I would have laughed, just like everyone else did that day at the fellowship hall of the First Baptist Church of Lincoln, Nebraska. But it wasn't a sweet laugh. It was that bitter kind of laughter, whispered behind hands, the kind that feels like it pierces your skin and squeezes your heart. That morning, the city was covered in a thick April fog, the kind that clings to your hair and begs you to stay home. But it was Wednesday, the day of the church ladies' famous brunch. I, Helen Foster, 61, widow, retired, who had never missed one of those gatherings, decided to do something different. Enough of bringing dry sponge cake just to please everyone, I thought. Today I'm going to record everything. It was my granddaughter Maddie's idea, with her 7 years and the old cell phone she'd inherited from her mom. "Grandma, start a recipe channel. You cook better than Martha Stewart?" She grinned, cheeks full and hopeful. It was just a joke for her, but for me it sparked something. Deep down, I think I needed something just for myself, after a whole life spent living for others. I got the kitchen ready, a stained formica table, red checkered curtains, the old gas stove. I turned on the phone, tied on my apron, and began. "Hi, my name is Helen Foster, and today I'm going to show you how my mom used to make cornbread, even on days when all we had was old flour and a little bit of milk. The batter didn't rise right. I forgot the baking powder. The cell phone's light flickered. The dog barked at the window, and in the end, the cake burned. Oh, Lord, I thought, laughing at the mess. But Maddie thought it was hilarious. She edited it quickly, added some country music in the background, and posted it. Grandma Helen burned the cake, but she taught us never to give up. I didn't think about it again, until I got to the brunch. In the church hall, the ladies were sitting around tables covered with floral plastic tablecloths. The air was filled with the smell of weak coffee and reheated apple pie. That's when I heard the whispers. "Did you see Helen's video? What a shame. She's lost her mind since she's been alone. Now everyone thinks they can be famous on the internet. Even her." My kids weren't there, but I could hear their voices in my head. Ben, my oldest, always so serious. "Mom, nobody your age gets famous on YouTube. That's for teenagers." Ashley, my critical daughter. "Why embarrass yourself like that, Mom? Lincoln isn't Los Angeles." I lowered my head, but kept on smiling. Let the first one who's never laughed at me throw the first cookie. But it hurt. I spent the morning on autopilot, pretending to listen to stories, laughing at jokes about medicine and cholesterol. Every time someone looked at me, all I could think was, am I really a joke? But as I left the hall, with the cold Nebraska wind on my face, my phone started to vibrate. Once, twice, 10 times. Comments, likes, shares. I opened the video, heart pounding. Instead of criticism, all I saw was kindness. "Grandma Helen, you reminded me of my own grandma. I miss her so much. So brave, so sweet, such an inspiration. Please make more videos. You made my day brighter." Maddie hugged me tight when I showed her. "See, Grandma? I told you you'd be a hit." For a moment, I doubted if it was real, but right there, under the cold light of the parking lot, I had a flash. Maybe life had set me aside, but I could still rewrite my story. But destiny is cruel. The more you believe, the more it tests your faith. That night, at home, I heard the doorbell. It was Ben. He showed up unannounced, voice stern. "Mom, we need to talk." I felt a chill down my spine. He came in, looked at the messy kitchen, the makeshift camera on top of a pile of old recipes. "Don't you think you're a little too old to embarrass yourself on the internet? What will people at the office think of me?" I wanted to yell, but I stayed silent, tasting the bitterness of shame and anger. I took a deep breath, looked him in the eyes. "Ben, for the first time in a long time, I did something for myself." He shook his head in disbelief, like I was a lost cause. I knew this battle was just beginning. If you want to hear even more powerful stories without ads, join the VIP group through the link in the pinned comment. I wanted to forget Ben's look, that look that's part pity, part judgment, like I'd lost my mind, like being old is the same as being ridiculous. But that night, while I washed the pans from the burnt cake, my head was spinning. Every drop of hot water felt like it was melting away an old layer of obedience and fear. For the first time, I felt a little bit of rebellion growing inside me. Why is it so wrong to want to try again? I asked my tired reflection in the window. Ben kept hovering in the kitchen, speaking softly to Ashley on the phone. No, Ash, she won't stop. She's obsessed with these videos. I heard everything, pretending not to listen. She's going to be the laughingstock, Ben. The kids are going to get bullied, Ashley whispered on the other end. I went to bed late, my chest tight. It was hard to ignore my family's voices, like the whole world agreed. Helen, you're too old to dream. And worse, as if being old means you have no right to new things, to mistakes, to taking risks. The next morning, I woke up to messages from Maddie. Grandma, the video already passed 1,000 views. 1,000! In less than 24 hours. For me, it was like winning the lottery. But not everyone liked it. My neighbor, Mr. Howard, who always complained about my dog, walked by and shouted, "Hey, YouTube star, going to teach us how to burn toast today?" Across the street, 3 teenagers laughed loudly, recording with their phones. I felt like a meme. And then came a call from Pastor Jim, his voice gentle but concerned. Sister Helen, many thought what you did was brave, but some members said your exposure might not be appropriate for Our Ladies group. Translation: Helen, sit down and act like a proper church lady. I almost gave up then, but Maddie came running, cheeks red and eyes bright. Grandma, look at these comments. A woman from Houston wrote that you reminded her of her mom's cornbread. She read it, excited. I'm an immigrant. I miss country breakfast so much. Thank you for giving me a piece of America. Suddenly, everything changed. It wasn't just for me anymore. It was for all those invisible people spread across the country, looking for a taste of home, of childhood, of comfort. I decided to record another video. This time, pumpkin pancakes, my mom's recipe from cold Nebraska autumns. With every ingredient, a memory. The smell of nutmeg, flannel sheets, the distant laughter of my little sister. If you made it this far, subscribe to the channel. You have no idea how much it helps me keep telling stories like this, and just wait to see what's coming next. The video blew up. 200, 300, 1,000 views became 10,000. But then Ashley, my daughter, came to visit. She came in without knocking, eyes red with anger and worry. Mom, why are you doing this? You want to be the town joke? What will Maddie's classmates say? Ashley, there's no shame in wanting to try something new. She laughed bitterly. Don't fool yourself. Nobody wants to watch an old lady mess up in the kitchen. I went silent, feeling that old humiliation burn inside. I wanted to quit again. That night, alone, I sat at the table and stared at my mom's recipe book. A thick notebook, worn cover, the smell of old paper. That's when I had an idea. Something that would change everything. Between the recipes were unsent letters, little family secrets, photos from times nobody else remembered, and more. A letter addressed to my grandmother, with secrets about our history, immigration, overcoming hardship. There was my new hook. In the next video, I promised, in the next episode, I'll share my family's secret, something I've never told even my kids. The comments exploded with curiosity and anticipation. And you? Have you ever felt like nobody believed in your dream just because of your age? Comment below, subscribe, and share this story, so more people remember that it's never too late to start over. No one in Lincoln believed my recipe videos would get me anywhere, and for weeks, I doubted it too. I became a joke, not just among my Facebook friends, but even in the grocery store line. It was impossible to leave the house without catching a nasty look, a whisper, or a stifled laugh. Suddenly, everyone seemed to have an opinion about my digital chef career. Even my own grandson, Sam, 15, looked at me with that crooked smile and said, Grandma, nobody watches old people cook videos, especially when you talk all excited like that. It hurt, more than I'd ever admit, even to myself. At Sunday dinner, while slicing the homemade bread I'd baked, I overheard my daughter whispering to her husband, thinking I couldn't hear. She's obsessed with those videos. If she could at least sell a few cakes, it'd help with the bills, but nobody wants to watch this. I smiled, pretended not to notice, and washed the dishes with trembling hands, feeling the weight of their contempt with every bite. That night, I sat on my bed and almost deleted everything. Almost. But when I looked at my old diary, now with flour-stained pages and notes about each video, every comment I'd received, something inside me refused to quit. Just one more, I thought. I decided to film something different. I told the story of the Christmas cookie I used to make for my mom when she was sick during her last winter in Nebraska. It was a simple recipe, but full of memories and longing. In the video, I let the tears fall as I told how my mother would smile, tasting the first bite, even when she was too weak to hold her teacup. I posted it, expecting nothing. Then I went to bed. When I woke up, my phone was buzzing like crazy. Over 2,000 notifications, comments, likes, shares from strangers in Alabama, Texas, even Alaska. A woman from Seattle wrote, "I cried watching your video. My mom used to make those too." A young woman in New York asked for the recipe so she could make it with her grandma. It felt like, for the first time, my voice was reaching beyond the white picket fences and closed windows of this town, touching distant hearts. But the more my channel grew, the nastier the talk in Lincoln got. At the book club, one of the ladies stared right at me and said, in front of everyone, "So, are you going to be an influencer now, Helen? Going to be on TV next?" Before I could answer, another chimed in, "You'll just end up as some internet meme." Anger burned in my chest, but I smiled, because for the first time, it wasn't just me against Lincoln. It was me and thousands of people across the country, tasting my recipes and my memories. Every comment was a virtual hug, every share a "keep going, you're not alone." But what I didn't know was that this sudden fame would affect people in ways I could never imagine. Because that very day, a strange email arrived. It was from someone named Amy, saying she was a representative for a big food brand. She wanted to talk, to schedule a meeting. I thought it was a scam, so I ignored it. But she insisted, "Your realness touches people. We want you for a national campaign." I showed my daughter, who burst out laughing, "Mom, for God's sake, it must be spam. You're going to get scammed." I was unsure, but I decided to reply. After all, what did I have to lose? I scheduled a video call for the next morning. I spent the night wide awake, torn between excitement and the fear of making a fool of myself. I had no idea that clicking "accept meeting" would change not just my channel, but my entire life. The next morning, I sat in front of my old laptop, hands ice cold, ready to find out if my dream was really just a joke, or the beginning of something Lincoln would never forget. I woke up before sunrise, stomach in knots. The fear of being made a fool froze my fingers on the keyboard. I sat at the kitchen table, where I'd cried in secret so many times, and waited for Amy's call. 5 minutes to go when my daughter knocked, still half asleep. "You're really going through with it?" she asked, full of doubt. "Mom, please, if it's a scam, it could mess up your bank. Wasn't Reader's Digest enough?" "I know what I'm doing," I lied, barely above a whisper. "And if it goes wrong, at least I tried." She walked off, grumbling. I took a deep breath, straightened my floral blouse, opened my diary beside me. That flower-stained notebook now felt like a shield. When the call finally rang, I saw a well-dressed woman with kind eyes in a modern office with the green and gold Foods logo behind her. "Mrs. Helen, this is Amy Thompson, Partnership Manager. First of all, congratulations. Our whole team is hooked on your videos. My grandma was just like you," she smiled. A real smile, not a fake salesperson's grin. My jaw dropped. I was speechless. "We have a project," Amy continued, full of energy. "We want you to be the face of our new national campaign for natural products. 3 videos, your recipes, your stories, your way. Fair payment, secure contract. Are you interested?" Right then, everything inside me froze. For a moment, I heard my mother's voice from those tough days. "Don't waste opportunities, daughter." This was my chance. Even with trembling hands, I tried to keep my dignity. "Send me the details, Amy. If it's serious, we'll talk." The call lasted 10 minutes, but it felt like a whirlwind. She explained the plan. Filming at home, my kitchen as the set, real stories, authenticity above all. At the end, Amy said, "You know which video went viral in our office? The Christmas cookie one." I cried at that story. That's the heart we want to show America. After I hung up, my legs gave out. I laughed and cried, all at once. I could hardly breathe. I looked at my diary and thought, now they'll see. I ran to tell my daughter. I hoped for a smile, a hug. She looked at me like I'd lost my mind. "You're going to sign a contract with internet people?" "Mom, this seems dangerous." "Sweetheart, I'm going to try. And if it goes wrong, so be it. At least I'll die trying." She left, leaving me alone in the hallway. It was always the same. Me taking a chance, her doubting. That day, I decided I wouldn't let anyone push me to the back of the room anymore. The contract arrived the next day. I called a bank lawyer, asked him to check everything. All clear, all legit. I'd get a $5,000 advance for each video, more than I made in 3 months, but it was about more than money. It was respect. Suddenly the whole world was paying attention to an old lady from Lincoln who just wanted to share a little joy. The next week the news spread like wildfire. In the supermarket line, I heard whispers. There she is, the internet lady. She's going to be on TV now. My book club friends surrounded me, curious. Helen, is it true? Are you going to be a real star? I smiled and replied, God willing, yes, and I'm taking all of you with me. But it wasn't just the success that grew. So did the resentment and jealousy. I got anonymous calls, Facebook messages saying I was embarrassing the family. My older sister Vivian sent a harsh email. What happened to our dignity, Helen? Do you really need to expose yourself like this? Aren't you ashamed? I wanted to disappear. But all I had to do was read the comments from strangers all over America. You helped me through grief. I made your pie with my daughter after years of not speaking. You remind me of my grandma, to feel strong again. It was an emotional roller coaster. One day euphoric, the next wanting to hide from the world. But I never thought of giving up, because, for the first time, my voice was being heard. My recipes, my secrets, my life. And deep down, a secret in my diary, a story so powerful that if told, could change everything all over again. Now tell me, have you ever felt like throwing everything away just to prove people wrong? Leave a comment, like this video, and share it so we can show the world that nobody has the right to silence us. Only those who make it to the end will truly understand the value of the secret hidden in my diary. And believe me, the biggest twists are still to come. You know that feeling of waiting for a storm even when the sky is blue? That's how I felt on the day of the first shoot. The green and gold team arrived early. 2 cameras, microphones, young, excited people. But it felt like they were stepping into a zoo to film some exotic animal. The producer, Melissa, smiled as she explained, "We want you to be yourself, Mrs. Helen. Messy kitchen, real recipes, open heart, no script." I tried to relax. I made my apple pie, the one with the recipe scribbled in my diary, full of butter stains and notes written in pencil by my mother. Don't forget the cinnamon. Put love into every slice. As I mixed the ingredients, I remembered winter afternoons with my sisters, the smell of the kitchen, old music on the radio. I could feel everything, the heat of the oven, the scent of the dough, the cold tile beneath my feet. My granddaughter Lily peeked in with her phone in hand. "Grandma, can I film a little for TikTok? My friends at school think you're awesome." I barely had time to answer. My daughter came in next, face set and hard. "Don't do it, Lily. Your grandma's already exposing herself enough. Enough of this nonsense." The crew pretended not to hear, but I noticed the exchanged glances. The air felt heavy, as if the entire family past was being judged right there among pots and cameras. The director asked for a statement. "Mrs. Helen, tell us, how do you feel when you cook?" I thought about running away, but I faced the lens. "I feel nostalgia. I feel hope. I feel like I want to prove to everyone that nobody is ever too old to start again." My heart almost burst. From the hallway, I heard my daughter whispering to her husband, "She's going to embarrass herself nationally. It's only a matter of time. The contract says if she says anything dumb, it's on her," he replied, flat. I wanted to cry, but I remembered Amy's face on the video call. I remembered all the comments from women everywhere saying, "You inspired me to try again." The shoot lasted for hours. Between takes, I heard more whispers, people doubting, people waiting for me to fail. Lily came over and hugged me. "Grandma, if it goes wrong, we'll laugh about it together. But if it goes right, you'll be the queen of the internet." I laughed, even with my throat tight. Deep down, that's what I needed. A little faith, a little craziness. The next day, the producer sent over a preview. I was tense as I opened it, sweaty hands, tears in my eyes even before hitting play. The video was simple, but it had soul. Me cooking, telling stories, laughing, making mistakes, getting things right. At the end, the team left a message. "This is Helen, and America needs to meet more women like her." I sent the link to my daughter. I hoped for a warm reply. Instead, she just wrote, "Hope you know what you're doing." The pain of that sentence cut like a knife. It felt like, no matter how hard I tried, I would never be enough. On the day it launched, The video exploded. 10,000 views in an hour. 100,000 by the end of the day. The phone wouldn't stop ringing. Messages poured in. Thank yous, similar stories, advice requests, even invitations for local TV shows. At the grocery store, a stranger approached me. You changed my day. I made your pie and told my mom. Thank you for reminding us that old ladies matter too. I felt a lump in my throat. I wanted to hug every one of these people, but not everything was joyful. My sister Vivian posted on Facebook, "My sister's lost her mind, showing off like a teenager. Families used to be discreet. I became the talk of the church, the bank, the pharmacy. Some thought it was beautiful, others embarrassing. Then, at the peak of it all, the big brand called me for an in-person meeting in Omaha. Amy explained, we have a bigger proposal. We want you in a national Christmas campaign. TV commercial, ads, meet and greets with fans. But we need your family to join in. Your video went viral because it's real. We want to show all generations. It was everything I dreamed of, but also my biggest fear, exposing my real family. I called my daughter and Lily for a talk. Dinner was tense. Mom, if my name's going to be out there, I want cash up front, no games, my daughter said, cold. Lily tried to lighten things up. Grandma, can I use this for my channel too? It'll help me get into college. I looked at them, feeling the weight of every choice. What was victory for me felt like war for others. But one thing was certain. This family was no longer the same, and neither was I. When I closed the door that night, I knew the best and the worst were yet to come. I never thought a simple pie video could land me in front of lawyers in suits, studio lights, and a six-figure contract. But there I was, sitting in green and gold's conference room, looking at a table full of executives. The clean carpet smell, the icy air conditioning, the click of pens, it all felt unreal. Amy smiled, sliding the contract toward me. Helen, America loves you. We've never seen such a connection in so little time, but we need that authenticity to stay intact. Are you in for being the face of our Christmas campaign? My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. The contract was thick, but every clause came with new demands. Travel, interviews, more exposure, opening up even more of my life, and, of course, my family. Lily was ecstatic. Grandma, you're really famous. Everyone at school saw it. There's even a meme of you on TikTok. My daughter, on the other side of the table, stayed icy. Mom, only sign if you guarantee half the money goes to me and Lily. I'm not going to be embarrassed for free. Her venom hit me hard. Inside, I was a storm. Pride, fear, sadness, and a hint of anger that made me want to explode. You think fame is just about money, honey? You think everything I've lived, suffered, and built can fit in a bank account? She laughed, bitter. Don't start with the speeches, Mom. I just want what's fair. Before I could answer, Amy stepped in. Helen, the public loves your story, but if this family tension goes public, the magic's gone. Can you at least act like a united family in front of the cameras? My daughter hesitated. For a moment, I saw the little girl who used to crawl into my lap during storms, before she turned into this bitter woman. I wanted to scream, but I swallowed it. I'm in, I said at last, but I won't fake it. If you want honesty, you'll get honesty. The team applauded, laughed, toasted, but something in me broke for good. On the way home, Lily was buzzing. Grandma, can we have a segment just for us? Like grandma and granddaughter recipes? We can, sweetheart. But do you think the family can handle that much truth? I barely got home when the phone rang. It was Vivian, my sister. So you're a star now? Brace yourself. Jealousy's strong here in Lincoln. I saw your video. The church folks can't stop talking. Her tone was sharp, but I sensed envy, maybe even fear at seeing someone our age breaking out of the silence and resignation. That night, I went to bed early, but my dreams were heavy. I relived my daughter's childhood, the times I was tough, when I held back affection because I was just trying to pay the bills, keep the house, not lose my mind after George left. Did I plant the seeds of this resentment, this emptiness? Or is it that, no matter how much love we give, some kids only see what's missing? The next day, flowers arrived from Amy, with a note. Get ready for the live Christmas broadcast. You and your family in the spotlight. We want emotion, confession, truth. My daughter was furious. They just want ratings. They're going to squeeze you until there's nothing left. Maybe, but this time, I'm in control, I replied. For the first time, I was writing my own script. I spent the week filming videos. Every time I turned on the camera, I thought of the women who wrote saying, "You reminded me of my mom, my grandma." I felt proud, but also the weight of representing so many people. Lily helped me set up the kitchen. "Grandma, talk about that Christmas you burned the turkey and we ended up having pizza. That would go viral." Meanwhile, my daughter spent her days locked in her room, reviewing contracts, complaining about the attention, the family, the world. The night before the live show, I sat at the table with both of them. "Tomorrow they'll film us all day. I don't want fights or masks. If you want to talk, talk. If you want to cry, cry. But please, don't embarrass me," I asked, almost pleading. My daughter looked at me with contempt. "You know why they call you the old lady who pays for everything? Because you always paid to be loved, to have a family." The pain of those words took my breath away. I wanted to answer, but my throat closed up. Lily jumped in. "Mom, stop. Grandma is the only person who never left me. You should be grateful." The room exploded, yelling, tears, slamming doors. When I was finally alone, I opened my diary. In it, I reread the letter I'd never given my daughter. "I wish I could ask your forgiveness for every time I let you down, but I want you to know how much I loved you, even on the worst days." The cameras would arrive tomorrow, but the real show was already happening, and there was no contract that could control it. And in the silence of the night, I understood. Fame is just a spotlight. The rest is shadow. Christmas special morning dawned gray and cold in Lincoln. The smell of strong coffee filled the kitchen as I paced back and forth, trying to hide my nerves. TV crews filled the living room, setting up lights, microphones, decorating with red bows and pine branches. It wasn't my house anymore. It was a reality show set. Lily came in wearing a huge hoodie, yawning. "Grandma, are you ready? They want to film us hugging after you finish the pie." My daughter was in her room, taking longer than usual to get ready. The tension between us could be cut with a knife. Producer Amy repeated, always smiling, "Helen, we just need everything to feel real. Do your best. The audience wants true emotion." I knew that wouldn't be hard. It was impossible to be anything else. When the cameras started rolling, I tried to smile, but my eyes burned. I made the apple pie, mixing the ingredients with trembling hands. With each move, memories came flooding back. The Christmas when my husband left, the first holiday dinner with just my daughter, the sadness I masked with laughter and recipes. Suddenly, Lily broke the silence, looking at the camera. "You know, Grandma, I wish everyone knew how hard you fought so we wouldn't go hungry. Some recipes are worth more than money." My daughter, impassive, watched from a distance. The producer nudged her. "And for you, what does it mean to see your mom become famous?" Her look was a storm. For me, I guess it's about time she felt important, since she spent her whole life being ignored. The silence was brutal. The crew noticed. The viewers would too. There was no way to fake harmony. A tear rolled down my face, not from pride, but from an old grief. Grief for the family I'd dreamed of, but never managed to have. At the height of filming, Amy whispered in my ear, "Now, tell a secret, something you've never told anyone." I froze. I looked at my daughter, my granddaughter. I knew what I needed to say, but didn't know if I had the strength. "There's a Christmas nobody here remembers, because it's when I sold my wedding ring to buy food. That winter, I promised myself that one day, no one would ever laugh at me again. No one would call me a useless old woman. And today, looking at you, I think I finally kept that promise." My daughter turned pale. Her eyes sparkled with something strange. Shame, maybe, or a spark of admiration she couldn't hide. Filming ended with applause and tears. Amy nearly squeezed me to death in a hug. "You're pure gold, Helen. That truth, that sharpness, it'll touch millions." As I left the set, my daughter grabbed my arm. "Why did you never tell me? About the ring? About everything?" "Because I wanted to protect you from the weight I carried. But honey, sometimes it's the weight that helps us grow." We stood in silence. Outside, snow was beginning to fall. Lily, eyes red, grabbed my hand. "Grandma, promise you'll never keep secrets like that again?" "I promise, sweetheart. Only if you promise you'll always believe in me, even when the world laughs." Deep down, I knew not all secrets had been revealed. There was still the letter from my past, the one I kept at the back of the diary, with the real reason behind so much sacrifice. and I closed my eyes knowing, after this Christmas, nothing would ever be the same. But the biggest twist was still to come. The response to the Christmas special went far beyond what I ever imagined. The next day, my phone exploded with messages, my inbox filled with invitations, praise, and interview requests. The video where I talked about the Christmas without my wedding ring had hit 1 million views, going viral among Facebook ladies groups, but also among young people on TikTok. But inside my house, the emotions were different. My daughter wouldn't look me in the eye. She spent hours on the phone with lawyers, worried about the new sponsorship contract. The silence was heavy and sharp. I knew she blamed me for stealing the spotlight, for being bigger than her daughter's party, the wedding, the whole family. It wasn't fame she wanted. It was control. Late in the afternoon, she knocked on my door. "Mom, we need to talk." Her tone was blunt, no sugarcoating. I sat in the living room chair, hands clasped, breathing in the smell of cookies Lily was baking for her channel. "Go ahead," I said. She hesitated, then fired. "Why didn't you tell me the brand wanted to renew the contract directly with you? I thought we were going to split everything. It's not fair." "Honey, I tried to include you. You're the one who pushed me out of the meetings, remember?" I took a deep breath, keeping my voice steady. "And this isn't about money. It's about respect. For the first time, people want to hear my voice, not just use me as a backdrop." She huffed, crossing her arms. "I did everything for this family. I even quit my job to help you with the channel. Now everyone only talks about you. I was never the star." Silence, the kind of silence that screams. "You wanted to be the star of your own life, honey. But stepping on me won't make you shine brighter." She cried, not a pretty, emotional cry, but out of anger and frustration. "You know what hurts? Hearing from everyone that I was unfair, that I'm the ungrateful daughter. No one is just a victim or a villain, sweetheart. But it took the whole world watching for you to realize that hurting your mother comes with a price." In the kitchen, Lily was listening. After a while, she came in, phone in hand. "Grandma, look at this. Your video is in the top 5 most viewed on YouTube in the US. I smiled, even with an ache in my chest. "That's nice, sweetheart. But internet success can't buy back a hug." That night, I went to bed with a heavy heart. My agent called late, excited. "Helen, the brand wants to launch you as the face of a national campaign. Photo shoot in New York, appearances at events. This is what stars do, you know?" For a moment, I felt the orphan girl from Nebraska holding hands with the old woman in the present. "I'll accept, but only if my granddaughter can come with me." Silence, then laughter. "Helen, you know what you want, and now no one's laughing at you." Looking at the ceiling, I thought, how many women dream of a moment like this, turning the tables when everyone doubted them? How many older women are the old lady who pays for everything, but are never truly seen? If you've ever been called useless, dead weight, or the old lady who pays for everything, share your story here. And don't forget, share this video and tag a friend who deserves to know it's never too late to start over. I turned off the light, finally ready for whatever was next, because for the first time, I was the one controlling the script. But there was still one last secret, and it was about to come out in a way no one expected. When the phone rang, it was still dark in Lincoln. My heart wasn't easily startled anymore. But that morning, I trembled. On the other end, a formal voice with a typical East Coast accent. "Mrs. Helen Parker?" "Yes, that's me. I'm calling from the Partnerships Department at American Food Network. We're producing a national show about women who reinvented their own lives. We'd like to invite you to record in New York." For a moment, time stood still. Me, the ridiculous old lady with her recipes months ago, was now being invited to national TV. But with pride came fear. I felt the weight of judgment again. My family still hadn't accepted my success. My son-in-law openly mocked my country accent. My daughter, colder and colder, left messages like, "Don't embarrass yourself on TV, Mom. We've been through enough already." That night, I recorded a new video. My hands shook, but my voice was steady. "You know, some people think women after 60 should hide, be quiet, ask for permission to dream. I used to think so too, until they laughed at me. Until they doubted everything I was capable of. But when someone tells you that you can't, that's when the recipe turns out just right." I stopped, took a breath. I looked into the camera, as if I were facing all the gossiping neighbors, the family, the critics online. If you've ever been told you have no value, that your time has passed, comment here. I want to know. What would you do if you weren't afraid of looking ridiculous? And if you're not subscribed yet, hit the button, because there are still so many stories to share. The next day, I woke up startled. My video had gone viral, with 400,000 likes and thousands of comments. People from Texas, California, Georgia, from all over the United States were sharing their own struggles and victories. Then, an unexpected piece of news arrived. A famous New York magazine published an article calling me the grandmother who taught America not to be ashamed. The same reporter who, months before, had mocked me was now asking for an exclusive interview. That's when, for the first time, my daughter came to me. She knocked on my door, her face a mix of pride, shame, and anxiety. "Mom, I never believed this would work. I was harsh. I was cruel." She looked into my eyes, tears barely held back. "I was just scared of being a joke again. Will you forgive me?" I hugged my daughter. It wasn't total forgiveness, but it was a start. In that hug, I realized my greatest victory wasn't the money or the channel or the brand contract. It was winning back my family, by example, not force. I ended that day with a special video. If there's someone who doubts you, don't hold a grudge. Prove it to yourself. Time brings justice, and nobody can stop you from starting over, not even the ones you love most. I closed the computer and looked out at the lights of Lincoln. And I knew my story wasn't just mine. It belonged to every woman who had ever doubted her own worth. And there, in the silence of that night, I realized the true happy ending is owning your own destiny. And tomorrow, New York awaits me. I was sitting in the chilly lobby of American Food Network, listening to the hum of the air conditioner and the hurried click of heels on the polished floor. The glass walls showed the Manhattan skyline, where everything seemed too big for someone who grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska, surrounded by cornfields and modest expectations. I ran my hand over my blue skirt, feeling my fingers tremble. I looked at my worn purse, where I carried an old recipe notebook, stained with grease, smelling of nutmeg and memories. All around me were young women, some overdone with makeup, laughing dismissively, whispering into their phones. Bet she doesn't even know how to post a story. I've heard of her, the viral grandma. That never lasts. I held my gaze in the window's reflection, searching for one last spark of courage inside myself. I remembered the smell of bread from the oven, my mother's laughter as she mixed dough, my grandson's small hand grabbing the first cookie. Every criticism I'd ever heard in recent years came rushing back, like a storm. "Helen, what a shame, turning into an internet meme. You're too old to put yourself out there. Grandma, go rest. You don't understand these modern things." But deep down, a strong voice reminded me, "You're more than a meme. You're a living story." When they called my name, I stood up, back straight, face warm with emotion and defiance. In the studio, the lights were harsh, cameras buzzing, and a perfectly smiling host asked in front of everyone, "Helen, tell America, did you always dream of being famous?" I held the microphone. My biggest dream was that my recipes wouldn't die with me. If now they travel to millions, it's because every dish carries the courage of someone who never gave up, even when she was the joke in a small town. The audience went silent, the smell of strong coffee mixed with nervousness in the air. I spoke of every pain, about the burnt cake video that became a joke, the cruel comments, the sleepless nights reading messages from strangers saying, "You remind me of my grandma, Helen," and also about the pride I felt for not giving up. I shared my Nebraska chili recipe with smoked pepper and secrets from 3 generations. When I tasted the first spoonful, I closed my eyes, letting the flavor flood my memory. The young chef beside me murmured softly, "This smell reminds me of my childhood in Tennessee." At the end of the recording, a respectful silence filled the studio. The director, a stern man, expensive suit, calculating look, came up to me. "Helen Parker, you're the soul of America we were looking for. Do you think you could cook for our cameras every week?" My heart raced. I thought about the sacrifices, the tears shed into my pillow, the loneliness after dinner. He handed me a thick envelope with a serious smile. $300,000 a month for a 1-year contract. You deserve it. For a moment, the world stood still. I saw, in flashes, every face that doubted me, every suppressed laugh in Lincoln, every night I almost gave up. $300,000? I asked, voice trembling. You're not just selling recipes, you're sharing your story. And that's exactly what we want, Helen. I signed right there, my hands shaking so much the name was nearly illegible. I felt a rush of joy and relief, as if my whole kitchen back home, smelling of apple pie and fresh coffee, was hugging me. I flew back to Lincoln on the first flight. My daughter was waiting at the gate, eyes full of tears, pride shining without shame. Mom, they finally understand who you are. Sweetheart, now I understand too. On Sunday, I gathered the family. I made the victory chili, served in blue bowls just like when I was a kid. The smell filled the house, bringing everyone to the table. My 8-year-old grandson, already watching the video on his tablet, asked, Grandma, when are you going to be on TV? I looked around. I saw my daughter, my son-in-law, neighbors, old friends, all of them there cheering. Soon, sweetheart. And when they ask who the recipe grandma is, you can say with pride, she never gave up, and now she's worth $300,000. If you made it this far, you know that victory never comes easy. But every stumble, every scornful laugh, every lonely night is worth it when you discover who you really are. Don't give up on yourself. Comment where you're listening from, share this with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another comeback like this. And if you want even more powerful stories with no ads, the VIP group link is in the pinned comment. The smell of chili and victory filled the house. And finally, I understood. I was much more than just a viral grandma. I was Helen Parker. And now, nobody could silence me.